And oh yeah, it's not to do with stocks. Hi guys, it's your girl, the Vitruvian doll, as known as the Truvy. Whoop, 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 whoop. I hope you're all having a graceful week. I wanted to hit you guys with another video, and the title of this video is called How to Really Invest. Okay, great. So let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it. This year, 2026, I promised you guys we're going to have a few serious videos about our lifestyle. So the first thing I'd like you to question, if you're really trying to invest, is it worth the price? You honestly need to be in a place where you can look at the price and determine whether you are spending the right amount of money for it. So this may be in a sense where you guys might need to know whether you are spending or you're investing. So let's break down those two terms. So when you say spending, this is initially you at a point of sale, whereby you are purchasing a service or a product and you are hoping to get something beneficial from it, possibly there and then. When we talk about investments, you are still using the same action of spending. The only difference is it is more or less to do with something in the more long term. So when you spend on a particular product that is an investment, you may as well look at that product as something that is going to be beneficial for you in the future rather than the present. So these are the two differences between spending. Okay? So guys, now that we understand the basics between spending and investing, I'm more leaning towards the investment side of things right now. If you look at how pricing is done in anything in life right about now, most people will price their services or any form of retail, anything that is consumable to you at a price that will be worth it for them. So now what I want you to question is whether that price is also worth it for you, number one, and it's also worth the product in itself or the service. So again, I'll break this down. So services represents someone giving you advice, for example, and you're paying for them to draw something out, design something for you, get your hair done. That's the service. Another thing you would say as something to do with you purchasing a product rather than a service is, of course, if you go shopping. All right, if you buy some food, a new phone, shopping, online, clothing and fashion, okay? These are all purchases. So guys, what I want you to relate is whether these items or services you have now gone and basically consumed, was it worth the price that they have advertised this for? And how would you be able to determine whether it's worth the investment? Okay, so I'm going to give an example. What I'd normally do if I'm actually looking to purchase a product, for example, I'm really into tea, so I'm just going to use something random. I love green tea. So if I was to say a green tea would be worth it, in my mind, I already know, the random prices of tea, like how much tea is meant to usually be. And if you are going for really good quality tea, it shouldn't be less than £3.54, right? I'm based in the UK. So that would be the usual price range for a good quality tea. So how I would now look at that if I was to now go and invest in another tea brand is that whether that tea brand that I'm now newly looking to invest in matches the price that I already have in my head, which is around £3.54. Now, When I think of it, I would now question to myself, is this new price matching what I know it to be? Or is it a little bit higher? And when you think of it being a little bit higher, guys, you need to now examine whether it is worth it being higher. That's going to do with you looking at the advertisement, the branding. There could also be word of mouth. Is anyone talking about this? Is there any reviews? Okay, so these are all the factors that I want you to look at when you are thinking of, is it worth the price? I'm also going to break it down in terms of a service. So for example, if you are paying a builder to fix a broken pipe, I would automatically assume as a customer, or should I say consumer, you would have done your background research. Again, check the reviews, look at all the notices and see who has actually used this builder's service before. And if they actually agree that they are a good builder, then please invest in them. All right. So guys, this is the way for you to look at your money, essentially. And the best way for you to really invest is for you to firstly question, is it worth the price? Okay, great. So guys, right now, obviously, we're all in a new phase. It's 2026. The new year has just begun. So dependent on what we have all already, bought into, I hope we haven't spent too much. I know we just finished Christmas and New Year's. But in terms of what you actually have put in for example, Christmas presents, I don't know, maybe you've bought a new car, you've updated your business strategy, you've bought a few things to represent yourself, your brand a bit better online, for example. I want you to also look at it in a way of, is it going to appreciate or depreciate? So what do these two terms mean? So appreciation is when something ends up being better than the value you originally purchased it for. And it could also be on a personal level, wherever you realize that, oh my God, I'm really happy with this investment. What does depreciation mean? It means whether the value that you originally purchased it for was worth it. And in this case, it has not been worth it and it's gone down in value. So again, clarifying to you guys, not to do with stocks, because I know stocks has the same, sort of concept. But let's move away from buying into people's companies and, assets, etc. We're just talking about everyday spending and bills, lifestyle. So when you look at depreciation, you start to only notice depreciation in things that have not lasted long. So again, I'm going to relate it to retail and services. So one thing that may depreciate, example-wise, is maybe you've bought, I don't know, a box of milk. Guys, I'm going to be really random because everyone has different things that they spend money on. But I'm going to give you the random things and you can apply it to where you spend money the most. I don't know what everyone really spends money on. I would normally say I spend most of my money on food and of course living, rent, bills, etc. So on the more lower end, if your carton of milk has depreciated, it basically means that that milk has not lasted long, even though they have advertised to you, by the way, this is going to expire at so-and-so date. That's a loss of your value, basically. In more bigger things, for example, let's say you've invested in, let's give it a website. All right. There is some people out there that will advertise to you that your website is going to drive more value to your business. And it doesn't actually look the way that you thought it will be in terms of your sales. Maybe you look at it in a few months' time. And if I'm honest with you guys, depreciation doesn't really show straight away. but it is something that you should analyze and know that I am not going to reinvest in this certain product because of what I've experienced. You should always have a backup of things that you know do not retain their value. That's what depreciation is. So if your website has not eventually drawn in more sales and more value to your business, then that basically means that, you know, your investment has depreciated. On a more brighter side, I hope for appreciation, let's say you've invested in a new laptop, right? I do agree with investing in new equipment, by the way, guys. And new equipment tends to appreciate over time as well. And how you would see appreciation is basically the backlog of that is a return on your investment. So I would say if you get a new laptop, you are able to visualize your programs better, right? You're able to look at more images, you're able to scroll quickly, things load up a lot more efficiently, right? So that is an appreciation. Okay, so guys, again, when you look at investing, ideally spending money, you should always question whether this will appreciate or depreciate. Perfect. Great. And guys, if you have not already booked a session with me, go ahead and book it. We can go through this in detail. If there's any area of your life where you may be struggling with your finances at the moment, I'm all ears. I'm happy to give you advice on the things that I've learned and things that you could also apply to also make the best out of your money. Great. So the next one would be stretch your money. Okay? A lot of people will call this make that money long, you know, make the money long, money long. All right. So when we talk about stretching money, guys, I'm not talking about no pound stretcher. Okay. If you're in the UK, you know what, you know, pound stretcher, right? No, I'm talking about making your money go far. Okay, I want your money to go far, guys, because this is how we really invest in 2026. All right, we don't want to spend money today and the money ends today. You know, we want this money to keep going and keep going and keep going, right? And how that's associated with making your money stretch is that you got to make your money work for you. So this is kind of like a vast point, but it's quite simple in its terms. It is what it says, basically. So stretch your money by making your money go far. And I also want you guys to make sure that your money is working for you. So I'm going to break that down. And what I will say, the first thing to do when you're thinking about stretching your money out is, listen, if is something that you cannot multiply. Say, for example, you're in a grocery store. Again, basic spending, guys, apply this to wherever you need to look at your investments. If you see a bargain, there could be a packet of potato chips, right? If you see the potato chips in a multi-pack, come on now, guys. That's definitely gonna, you know, override the single packet of potato chips. Again, really random examples. In terms of a service, guys, I beg you go for anyone that tells you I'm going to give you this free. I'm going to do this for you on the side. All right, guys, always in a sense, try to bargain hunt. All right. And this ain't about you looking hungry. This is about you being wise. Okay. Because that's the only way we're really investing, okay? I'm talking about really investing, keyword now, all right? So don't compromise on that one, guys. That is the top point. Make your money stretch. Great. So, guys, obviously, you know, we're talking about money a lot, and 2026, we got to make big girl, big boy moves. So what can we really do in this life without spending? I mean, I don't really know, Sha, because what can we do? So, yeah, guys, so the next one will be, when will you be willing to invest? All right, so this is more pertinent to you looking at something that you really want to buy and you're wondering whether I should buy that now or I should wait later on. Guys, this is something that we need to always question, because sometimes it's not even a personal thing of you being stingy at the moment in time and you don't want to spend your money. Sometimes it will work out better for your finances, i.e. to those that are waiting to get paid. Wait till you get paid. Or there's options, for example, if you're doing a purchase, again, there's things like pay in free, pay in bits. I'm not advising anyone to go into credit if you do not have a good record for credit, but always look at your options as to when you should invest, because it's not every moment in time that we should actually be investing. We should question when and what for. And this also is dependent on the importance. So if your investment is actually something you need urgently, for example, if you need to go and get a new jacket because the season has changed, the weather, for example, is really bad in your country, you need to get that ASAP because you don't want to catch a cold, right? Or look at it in inverse terms. If it's something that you don't need to invest in straight away, for example, I don't know, like buying a really massive TV when you've already got a TV, but you just want it to be a bit more bigger, that may not be an immediate investment. So guys, always question, when is it right for you to invest? Lastly, guys, I'm going to be giving you guys some investment recommendations. So again, not to do with stocks. Maybe we may go into stocks and shares in another video, but for now, let's talk about the bare basics of lifestyle. Okay, so the number one thing I would say you should always invest in is your health. Because if you are not healthy, you will not be in a position to invest. So anything to do with care products, anything to do with appearance products, anything to do with making you look and feel confident, always invest in these products. So again, this type of investment could be you buying or purchasing something from retail, or it could also be you working on paying for services, and that could break down into all sorts of services, okay? Just do your research as to what is pertinent to you right now. Another thing that I would say is worth the investment, random but important, guys, is your physique. Okay, like I wouldn't necessarily say working out is a monetary investment, but you could also look at ways to invest in how you work out. So, randomly pay for the gym, buy new equipment, speak to therapists, specialists that can work on a plan for you. Anything to do with your physique, guys, that is always worth the investment. Secondly, guys, thirdly, I would always recommend to you, invest where you live. I'm not talking about purchasing properties in this video. Where you live, guys, is quintessential to how you are able to live your life. So anything that's going to make you feel comfortable in your living space, invest in it, all right? And I'm not saying go all out and buy flamboyant things that are just going to waste your credit card and all that, or whatever you guys spend on, but buy nice things to make you feel comfortable in your living space. All right, these are the top 3 things that I would say are worth the investment, especially 2026, for a standing point. All right, guys, we can get into the details in another video. Obviously, it's going to be too long, all right, if we're here today. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video, guys. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up and comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you again to all my day 1 subscribers. And if you're new, Great. So guys, honestly, that'll be all. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to stay beautiful and stay blessed.